It's 68 lovely degrees under cobalt Lowcountry skies on Parris Island, South Carolina. In Auburn, Alabama, the loveliest village on the plains, it's 62 with a bit of overcast. 61 and a bit blustery in La Jolla, California. You folks are having a bit of a rough patch. In Tokyo this morning, you're waking to clear skies and 55. And on the Jubilee Walkway along the Thames, your afternoon is pleasant at 55 with a few clouds. Let's go now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to you around the globe. Welcome to Here's the Thing, Excursus. I hope this message finds you truly well and joyful. I was asked why the weather and why those locations to lead in. I'm no different from anybody else. I like to be reminded of places and people and things I love and that bring me happiness and joy. I mentioned the Lowcountry and I move around a little bit because Bluffton is my hometown, Bluffton, South Carolina. And I was born a Marine at Parris Island, South Carolina, which is just a short little boat ride over the water. Auburn, Alabama, well, it is the loveliest village, and it is where my heart remains. La Jolla, California, I can't think of too many places I'd rather be. After spending most of my life in swamps and jungles and deserts and so forth, it's just nice to be somewhere where it's about 68 and sunny all the time. And Tokyo, that might seem out of place, but I was born in Tokyo, Tachikawa Air Force Base to be exact. Military father. We are a deep service family. And, well, anywhere in the UK that I can promote and send my love to, that is just okay with me. Hope it's okay with you. Well, maybe that gives you a little background, a little bit of explanation. Speaking of things that I love and bring me joy, this afternoon's tea is Fort Mason Loose Leaf Black. I tried to look on the packaging to see a little more detail where exactly, but it just says it's packaged for Fort Mason, right there on Piccadilly. And I'm enjoying it with just a little steamed milk as usual. A little comfort in my tea. I certainly hope I'm not breaching some universal rule of tea etiquette, although it's not the Victorian era anymore, and I think it's perfectly acceptable within the walls of your own home to enjoy your tea as you like it without getting completely nuts. I wonder, with the bulk of the tea coming from the Chinese market, I wonder how that's being affected with the old Wuhan, the corona, the COVID. People are freaking out. I'm not a proponent of freaking out. Keep your head while all those about you are losing theirs and blaming you. Take precautions. Don't panic. Just like the Spanish flu. Everybody got it. Orders of magnitude more people died from that than will die from this because we know how to deal with it now. Be smart. Anyway, tea. Chinese tea. It's just like the butterfly effect, like a ripple effect. And what will the Kenyan and South American tea markets look like? Everybody benefits from somebody's misfortune. Must have the ability to adapt or get lost in the shuffle. Adaptation, improvise, adapt, and overcome, right? The effect on the tea markets, global tea markets, is reminiscent of a little incident involving tea commerce in Massachusetts in December of 1773. You might remember. And it seems as though my podcast has morphed into a bit of something else, which is just fine. I'm doing what I enjoy. Hopefully I'll find some folks along the way that enjoy it as well, but we won't only espouse the virtues of tea as a source of joy and relaxation. We're going to talk about my favorite coffees as well, be included in the discussion, as coffee is delightful and the second most consumed beverage in the world behind tea, although I believe in the UK that more coffee is consumed outside the home than tea. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. But tea brings me back to a special place for a foreigner in your land, in the UK, for a tourist, someone trying not to act like a tourist and absorb the atmosphere of the culture. On our last trip over, we toured through Scotland and England, and I so enjoyed checking into our Airbnbs or our hotel and finding a nice little tea set waiting for us there. Very, very much enjoyed a calm afternoon with my wife and a brilliant cup of tea. Along those lines, the most popular beverages in the world starts with water, of course. That would be stupid if we said otherwise. Followed closely by tea at number 2, coffee at number 3, beer is number 4, which has as many health benefits as tea. And then the polar opposite right behind beer is Coca-Cola, which will kill you if you drink too much. Everything in moderation. I feel like I've heard that somewhere before. So we open speaking of the weather. The weather here has taken a pleasant upturn. It's not spring on the calendar yet, but it might as well be. It's in the 70s and the skies are green with pollen. Well, in so much as the onset of spring can be enjoyed, I'm enjoying it. As we have had a crazy winter. It didn't get cold, relatively speaking. We had a day or two where it sniffed the freezing line. But given our geography, that's something to speak of for us. But we flatlined. It seemed like the pattern that repeated itself was 72 and raining with hurricane force winds, strangely enough, or 49 and beautiful. I'll take the 49 and beautiful over the 72 and raining. That's just me. A nice weather. Boy, everybody gets in a better mood, don't they? Nice weather is like magic elixir. It's like a baroscopic mood enhancer. If Eli Lilly could make a pill out of it, they might just put Kalashnikov and Colt out of business. Although probably not, because shooting is way too much damn fun. Incidentally, did you know that over 100 million Kalashnikov products were produced between 1948 and present day? Like 75 million AK-47s? That is a lot of 7.62s snapping around out there. Anyway, the weather. Even my teenager is in a good mood. It's almost terrifying. You know what I mean? When they walk in and out of nowhere after school, they say, "You know what, Dad? I'm thankful for you guys. My parents. I love you." And you're sitting there like, what? I mean, you're confused because you're washed. You are awash. in emotional feelings. Oh my goodness, did she just say that out loud? And then the other half of you goes, wait a minute, I need to urine test her. Teenagers, God bless them. Please. Speaking of things that go with good weather, how about lounge chairs? Sit out by the pool, sit in the backyard, gather some sun. Well, my wife found a product the other day that got me to wonder. It's a lounge chair with a face hole in it, like a massage table, so you can read. So when you're laying on your stomach, you can just hold your Kindle or your book under your face hole and be able to read and without contorting your body into some strangely unnatural position and needing to see the chiropractor afterwards. And it got me to wonder, as I'm often inclined, why hasn't anyone invented this before now? It seems, as per convention, that the inertia of indolence has ground yet another idea into burgoo. It's like this conversation happens. Hey, we should do this. No, we've done this forever. We'll keep doing this. But this new idea makes more sense. In practical application, your thing is outdated and uncomfortable. The devil, you say? Our old thing is familiar besides. We'd have to redo our manufacturing system, and that's far too much effort. You can live with the old thing. Well, since I can't get anyone to listen or marshal the resources, I suppose I must submit. And the old thing goes merrily on. It's like someone must have said this. Someone must have come up with this idea before now. Look, I'm having a difficult time. I like to read. It's boring laying out in the sun. I can't do it. Can't get my husband to go to the beach or the pool because it's boring to lay around in the sun. Right, ladies? Well, maybe he can read. Well, I don't want to prop up on my elbow and get a crick in my neck to read. That'll take me about 2 minutes, I'm done, and then I'm bored again. Someone had to have come up with this idea before this. And it just didn't get produced because either they didn't tell the right person, or the right person said, nah, too much effort, you're good, we already have this. Ah, life. And whilst on the subjects of things which make no sense, what is up with ball cap design? Who is in charge of this process? It seems my late father, God rest his soul, secretly subverted the cap design market when none of us were looking. It's like 2020, guys. 2020. Bring the ball cap along with us, okay? Shall we? I point out my dad because he had a notoriously giant head. Look at the size of that boy's head. Anyway. He had a big head, couldn't find hats that fit him, so he usually had to go with the snapback, although he never could snap it. And then like the trucker style sitting way up high on his head, but you know what? It looked good on him. That was him. Couldn't picture him in some kind of like low profile form-fitting hat. But anyway, I look around and I get emails from all these companies peddling their wares, and their ball caps are atrocious. It's like somehow, instead of Paris, Milan, New York, or Hollywood, LA, coming up with these design ideas, it's like Skeeter and Cooter in a broken down trailer park with engines hanging out of the trees somewhere in northeastern Louisiana are coming up with these designs. Come on, y'all. You're selling these. You're marketing these. The NFL, Major League Baseball, you're marketing these to teenagers. What the heck? Oh, I think I just figured it out. The history of the ball cap as a fashion statement is actually pretty interesting. Spalding produced the forefather of the modern ball cap for the growing phenomenon of American baseball. Fun fact, you all may have heard this, but It's said that Babe Ruth, in the heat of summer wearing that wool cap, would put a cabbage leaf on top of his head between the ball cap there and change it out every inning or so to keep his skull cool, his brain pan down to a normal temperature. Interesting. Anyway, New Era. The company New Era produced an updated version of Spalding's famous 6-panel button top with the advent of what they call the 5950 in 1934. And the New Era began tailoring caps for players, and they reached such a level of demand that most major leaguers were wearing them by the 1950s. I actually just read a thing. You really gotta know your sources. You can't believe very nearly anything these days, and you should operate under that premise, but know your source. It's like about 98% of media should just say, you know what, this is written by The Onion. But I read that Spike Lee was responsible for the spike, if you will, in popularity of the ball cap in mainstream pop culture when he, in 1996, you hear that, 1996, requested a special red version of the New York Yankees cap. Bandwagon jumper. But I'm going to have to strongly disagree, and I have photographic evidence of this. If you want to check Twitter and Facebook, I've posted a photo of 1980 me absolutely rocking the mesh snapback trucker. You're welcome. Personally, I think it was not Spike Lee nor anyone else. It was Tom Selleck and I in the late 70s and early 80s that were at the forefront, the bleeding edge of the spear in pushing the ball cap as a mainstream fashion product. Or not. But these days, I mean, the designs are horrible, the fit is horrible. Mostly it seems like they just put them together. They're just sewing them together and shipping them out by the zillions. And I can't wear most of them because they look terrible. I have a normal size head. I'm not like my dad or my younger brother, my little brother. I'm the oldest of three. Big, middle, and little. Little brother took dad's giant melon. But I'm going to drop a product here. Legacy, you make the best hat there is. Legacy hats, the kind of trucker mesh with the snapback, that's all I wear. And it looks good on me. And it will look good on you. That's enough triviality for now. Here's to a joyful afternoon, wherever you are, and whenever 4 o'clock comes round to that place. Here's the thing, Excursus can be found on the Podbean app. Download it now. You can also find it on iTunes and Apple Podcast. Go to Here's the Thing at podbean.com. You can also do Google Podcast, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio. And if you're puttering about the house, getting things done like the good men and women of the world, you can just look over to the corner and say, Alexa, please play Here's a Thing on your favorite podcast delivery platform. And I presume, since we're on Google Podcasts, that you can ask her as well. Hey Google, play Here's a Thing. Did I just wake up everybody's AI servant robots? I hope so. When you visit, please subscribe, rate, and review. Go ahead and click that 5-star rating. If you don't like me, don't bother. I don't care. Please check Twitter and Facebook. That's Here's a Thing 1, the number 1. Here's a Thing 1 on Twitter. And Here's a Thing on Facebook. Search everywhere. It only takes a moment to make a difference. And I'd like to welcome to the family Denmark and the District of Columbia. So glad to have you. Thank you for your time and devotion. Let's keep growing the family. Share the show with a friend, will you? And ladies and gentlemen, like what you like. Let no one control your space, and find a way to elevate the world around you.
Hi, Hi guys, Macy here. Thank you for tuning in to the show and listening to my lovely, adoring, funny, handsome, amazing father. Please tune in for the next show when it comes out. I don't know when it comes out, but it comes out soon. Bye. It's the end of the show. Continue on with your life. That was horrible. Oh my gosh.